Well, welcome back to another Models by Me video. This time we'll be continuing the Navy theme with the Arado 196 in 1/72 scale by Revell. So we'll do this in the usual manner. We'll have a look at the outside of the box, then the contents, then the instructions, and then the sprues. Oh my god, the sprues. Those I've seen this kit before will know what I'm on about. So, just a little bit of history on the Arado. So this was for the Kriegsmarine. Yes, we're giving the Germans some attention this time. They don't have a lot of Navy planes. Till somebody gives me an entire list of them. Prove me wrong again. But yes, it's one of the German Navy's airplanes. This was used for both like a trainer, air spotter, a little bit of a reconnaissance plane, really. I would say air sea rescue, but it's definitely not air sea rescue. It's got a few machine guns to keep enemy fighters or other enemy spotter planes at bay, like the Walrus, for example. And you can kind of see there, if that indeed correct, that's a bomb rack. So this thing would carry bombs. I can imagine probably nothing more than about 50, 100 kilos. So, not massive bombs, but just something to like deter or provide us that little bit of extra support. Basically, it was used until the end of the war, pretty much, and then don't think it was used post-war at all. Interestingly, for those that fancy something quite unique to put on the wall or put on your shelves and throw off visitors, the Japanese had two of these. So you could actually, if you got spare decals, paint this up in Japanese colours. Put the rising suns on the sides. That would definitely throw off some people. So yeah, we'll have a look. We'll continue with the rest of this unboxing video. So the outside of the box, this is in a Revell blue box style, so because it's blue. So we've got nice artwork of the Arado on the front, mid-flight. Got the size of it, plastic model kit, just in case you didn't know, if in case it was a metal one. 72nd, Revell, product code, and what it actually is. I'm guessing that's where the price used to be. So it's a nice little box, this one. Down the side here, we have a little bit of history on the Arado. Excellent robust seaplane with fantastic flying characteristics. Pause that if you want to read the rest of it. So ideally this would say features. Structured surface. Wonder what it means by that. Detailed cockpit. We'll see about that. Has a spinny propeller. Detailed radio engine. They keep saying detailed radio engine. We'll prove that later. 2 floats. One of the big features about this plane is it's a float plane. So of all the features on this float plane, it comes with 2 floats. They were really scratching the surface for that one, wasn't they? Detailed decals for 2 versions for the German Navy. He almost needs to put his hand up in the air going, "Hi!" Right, okay. Skill level 3. Is that a BT's product code? My god, it's BT's. I miss BT's. Oops, sorry, on the underside too soon. So this side, they've got all the colours that you're going to need. Barcode. Detail the actual kit itself and the various languages. So I'll say pause if you want to read that, but it's out of focus again. Pause if you want to read that. This side, same as the other. I'm not going to fall for this. Skill level 3. Skill level 3. Good, they put skill level on both sides this time. Back to the features. So, underside. The other planes that Revell do. So we've got the triplane again. The Lightning. The Alpha Jet. The Airbus. We've seen the Airbus before. We've definitely seen the triplane and the spaceship before. I think it's the first time we've seen the Tiger meet. Droop Snoot we've definitely seen before. I recognise the Droop Snoot. And Revell advertising the fact they do their own range of glues and paints. Right. Skill levels. So this says it's a 3, but unfortunately it doesn't quite tell us what a 3 is. It says 1 is snap together kits, while 5 is difficult with over 150 parts. I swear there was another one that we looked at earlier which said 4 was over 150 parts. That must be before they did 1 which was snap together. But okie dokie. That's it for the outside of the box. Let's open them up. Let's show us what you got. And this is where I was referencing, oh my god, the sprues. Yes, they are bright blue. Not as bright as this, the light's kind of affecting it, but it's more of a paler blue than that, but not much paler. And the instructions. Oh no, there's more stuff in there. It's the bent over decals. So let's have a look at the decals quickly here in my hand. So we've got, I would say printed dials, but saying printed dials would be giving it the benefit. There's no detail there whatsoever. We got white decals on an off-white bit of plastic, cardboard. Yeah, good luck trying to see those. There's a white band up here that's easily missed. Of course, it's not too bad. The heraldry, the shields, not too bad. Quite nice. But okay. So there's definitely nicer decals. 1991? I think even in 1991 there were still nicer decals than this. So, okie dokie. Let's put these to one side. So we're going to have a look at the instructions. Oh, instructions. So, start with the top. So, carefully read the instruction sheet before assembly. Okie dokie. I've got the usual icons: glue, do not glue, ×2, optional, shown assembled, and clear part in a square. We've got the decal sheet and the paints. So what Revell do with their paints is they will give you a letter in the flag, and you have to relate back to what that colour is. So we'll go with D, for example, which is Matte Orcher. Talker, yep, and sometimes they'll give you a number which will be referencing Revell's colour coding. So this one, for example, is 88. However, unlike most of Revell's other kits, Revell have a habit of mixing. Having to get you to mix 2 colours together. So unlike most other kits, this only has the 1. So it's not bad. Out of 10 paints, and only 1 of those has to be mixed together. I would say it'd be better if Revell just did the colour for that, or gave you the option to say, here's the mix to get it as close as possible, If not, then here's an alternate which is close enough. What we got? Yeah, okay. Right, so let me lay this down because this unfolds in a really unusual manner. So most instruction sheets are folded up A4 or A3 bits of paper. Not this one. It's a folded up A2 sheet of paper that is printed both sides. Okie dokie. Right, so we'll start with step 1, which is the cockpit section. So you have to put the seat, control column and the foot pedals onto the base plate. Step 2, put the decals on the instrument panel, and I would guess that'll be the radio. What is it? Instrument panel, I'm guessing that's the gun sight onto the front of the instrument panel, which is going to be fun if you just put a decal sheet over the top of that. Step 4, put the machine guns on the back. Step 5, glue it all together. So it comes with the seat for the rear gunner, put the cockpit in, instrument panel, and the rear section, plus the radio thing you got slot in there as well. Step 6, engine. So spinny propeller time. What? And okay, okay, so so you can glue the front half of the engine to the back half of the engine, but do make sure these three are not glued to that is not glued to either of those two. What I'd probably recommend is folding the instruction sheet in half so it makes it easier to hold. Is put the propeller through the base cape, the base plate of said spinner, propeller through that, through the front part of the engine, and then if you want spinny propeller, glue that little nub onto the end of the propeller. Let that dry, and then you can glue what would be this section onto the engine. Just make sure it's nowhere near this little nub, otherwise you've just wasted your time. And then glue the spinner on top and the cowling on either side. If you don't care for spinny propeller, spinner onto propeller, onto base plate, onto the front half of the engine, onto the main part of the engine, then into the cowling. Step 7. Step 7A and B. Okay. I would be more impressed if they did step 7 than step 8, to be honest. So glue the engine onto the front of the plane, and then glue the horizontal stabilizer onto the back of the plane. Nice and simple. Now, what's the second half of these instructions? Aha. Step 8. Glue the canopy on and the aerial. I would recommend leaving the aerial off. There's a good chance you'll knock him off. Step 9. Glue the wings together and all the little bits under the wings. So these are actually little counterweights to help make things a little bit easier and lighter on the ailerons. Step 10. The main feature of the plane, the floats. So glue the two float halves together. I'm not used to them being an upper and a lower. I'm just used to them being the side by side. Okay. And then you've got to glue the same rudder onto both of them. I think there should be a step times 2 there. So yeah, it should be 2 rudders, one for this one and one for that one. Stage 11, I had to take a double take on this one because I thought it was just like, wait a minute, there's nothing here asking us to do. Yeah, there is. Glue the fuselage onto the wings. I would probably recommend doing that as soon as you finish gluing the wings together. Or better yet, glue the underside of the wings onto the fuselage, and before that's solidified, glue the upper wings onto the lower wings. Just help you get everything lined up in one go then. And then worry about the floats. And then all the struts for the floats. This is going to be fun. Use fine black thread. So, there's a crosshair. So yeah, rigging wire for between those two struts. I would recommend to glue all this together on here, paint it first, and then worry about the rigging. Glue the struts onto the inside of the airplane, and that's it. You're done. So we've got a paint, which is... So, okay, let's see if I can fold this in half. There we go. So how many colours we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colours for this little plane. Wow. So this is kind of like an old style way of doing these colours. So you would have different patterns. So you've got polka dot here, or closer polka dots. The old-fashioned paint, you know, Microsoft Paint spray can effect. And then just a pretty much dark colour. Each one of those, other than represent a colour, thanks to the flags, but they also identify here. So you've got the polka dot, the closer dots, the really close dots. Yeah, you get what I mean here. It's an old way of doing this. Not sure how old this kit is. Well, it's got 91 of the decal sheet, so that will give you a slight clue. But yeah, it's gets a while to get used to it. So you got, okay, that's, well, I've painted a few of these, so I know that's going to be yellow cowling on the wingtips. Bluey grey, which is H. H being, I'm pretty certain it is the one that was the multicolour. Yeah, there it is. Quite literally, bluey grey, because it is a mix of blue and grey. And then the upper surfaces. So yeah, okay, that's one of the decal options. And the other one is pretty much the same, except for we can get rid of the yellow, and we got another colour which is missing. So okie dokie. No actual marking clue as what plane or what ship this one was on. It's only for the other one. Nope. So it's literally, they must have just got, or no, the codes related to this plane. Or let's say they found the codes either related to the Arado, or they found a picture of an Arado 196. And yeah, because they don't actually say where they came from. That's a little bit of a shame. And that's it for the instructions. Time to look at the blue mess that is the sprues. Yay. So let's get these out of the baggie. Oh, we have a loose piece. We have the spinner that's loose. And we've got all the glass in its own plastic sheet, so that's not too bad. Plastic sheet, plastic baggie. Let's start with this sprue. So, gonna focus on me. There we go. Right, so start with the engine cowlings, even though I've focused it on the engine. Or the fuselage even, sorry. Cowlings don't look too bad. That's raised panel lines? Yep, raised panel lines. On the cowling, weirdly. And so you got all the like the vents out the back, which is I say that's very, yeah, that's quite thin raised panel lines again. And the fuselage is the same, raised panel lines. Okie dokie. Seems a bit odd considering they can do recessed bits, but the panel lines are raised. I wonder if that's to help with like weathering or something. But the fuselage isn't too bad. You can tell it's canvas, just by the ribbing that's going down the side. The rudder, it's either a very thin rudder or they haven't quite mastered putting the ribs on there yet. Even though the fuselage isn't that bad for it. Propeller, pretty nice. Most of it's going to be hidden by the spinner, unfortunately. The spinner base plate, you can't put anything through because it's flushed over. Instrument column, yep, that's not too bad actually. That's the little plastic nubby, so we're not so fussed about that. Foot paddles, not too bad. That's the rear machine gun rest, not too bad. And then the struts. You can probably guess what I'm about to say. Not too bad either, though a little bit flashy around the base plates here. Inside of the cowling, nothing there. Inside of the fuselage, nothing there. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. Next through, we have, start with the wings and the raised panel lines again. Okie dokie. But the funny thing is, the rudder and the control surfaces here is recessed. That's a bit odd. They've got raised panel lines, even though they can do recessed parts, evident by the bits on the fuselage as well as the control surfaces being recessed. So, okie dokie. And then the floats are not too bad. Again, I'm so used to them being like this side glued to this side rather than here's the top bit and then you glue it onto the bottom bit. So yeah, very odd there. Also, one's got holes in it, but the other one doesn't. I suppose it's that to make sure you get these the right way around. No, because they don't have anything there. What I was looking for was like a little locator peg on the bottom here that correlates to this hole, but nope. Inside, no detail there. The lower wing. Not too bad. So we've got the holes to put all like the counterweights in and the struts. There was a P-hole tube hole somewhere. Guessing it's that one. So not too bad, and you've got this quite clear defined pieces for the struts to go into the fuselage, so yeah, it's not bad. Seat, very standard seat. Engine is smooth as anything. No detail there. Struts here aren't too bad. Have we got a little locator peg? No. Okay. I wonder what those holes are for. So we've got the aerial, P-hole tube, and the counterweights. Okie dokie. So that's not too bad. And the last one. So we have the cockpit section. We have the instrument panel with little, tiny little dots for the a bit dog fur get there. Oh, sorry. So we've got tiny little dials for the, well, dials. Radio is not much better. I wouldn't expect anything really on that because that's the bit the machine gun goes on to. Yeah, nothing there. The seat, the rear bench seat. No, nothing there. Controls the vertical stabilizer, base panel lines, and one-piece stabilizer. Wow. I suppose it's this far back. You didn't need to split it in half because of the rudders in a way. Rudders above it, no reason for it to interfere. I think this is the first plane I've ever seen this particular design on. Very interesting. So we've got the rudders, twin machine guns, which are not sure. Partly because I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. Well, I'm guessing they were supposed to be like MG18s or MG. I suppose probably 18s for this plane. Could be wrong, but design molded wise, we've got the trigger there. They're not bad machine guns. There's definitely worse. A bit flashy, and machine guns are pretty certain it's supposed to be 2 barrels and not 1 conjoined barrel. Yep, I was putting off the engine. Flashy as anything, and detail-wise, very basic. There's not a lot of detail on it. None like the cooling ribs are on that at all. That's not a good engine, I'm afraid. Other half of the fuselage, pretty much the same. So yeah, overly not too bad. Let's have a look at the canopy. I'm going to have to get these up. Ta-da! So the clear plastic looks quite clear. Looks like very clear plastic. Oh, except for when I put it over the dials, probably because the light's in the way. When I put it over the dials, yeah, that's not bad. You can definitely put some detail on the inside of this because you might actually see it. Now, the frame lines are very thin. They're slightly raised, but they're very thin, so you're going to need a very steady hand or a set of masks to cover up the actual windows, and then you can just paint over the frame lines. So, okie dokie. Not bad clear plastic though. Alright, let me just bag all the slot back up and I'll give you my final thoughts. So, final thoughts on the Revell's Arado 196 in 72nd scale. I would definitely say it's an early kit. Like 80s, 70s early, possibly earlier. But it is quite a rare, unique plane. Not very big and will definitely stand out on people's shelves. But I'd say it's a few minuses. But they're very minor things, and it's more of like a small bugbear of mine. Raised panel lines being top of the list, really. But that's a very minor thing, really, for quite a small, kind of unique little plane. They're quite thin panel lines, so unless you fancy scoring your own ones, it might help with weathering, actually. Do a bit of dry brushing over the panel lines. Should be able to pick it up and give you kind of like that shadow effect quite nicely. But overall, it's quite a cool little plane. Might benefit with some of the, like, any aftermarket parts for like an interior, a better engine. That wasn't a good engine, but it would probably benefit with some aftermarkets. But you don't specifically have to go out of your way to go get them. It's a small cockpit anyway, you ain't going to see much. What's there is like a nice representation of what would be on the inside of the plane. The engine could definitely do some work though, but not that great of a not that much of a deal breaker with the engine it's got. Probably not going to purposely look out for it. So yeah, quite a nice little plane, like quite a nice thing to add to your collections. So if you like the video, hit that like button. If you've made one of these before, is there any traps or anything to look out for, leave it in the comment section. And subscribe for more videos. Thanks, bye.